and my heart sank as I looked at my phone, seeing 9 missed calls from my agent. So I've now been a professional voice actor for about 11 years, but I gotta say, my first foray into the world of voice acting was a little odd. But I loved working on the project, I was so happy to be involved with it, and the final project we got was wonderful. So I don't want to say anything bad about any company involved, it was just weird.
That was weird.
So what most people probably don't know is that my first official voice job in Hollywood was Dracula. No, I don't mean I just got hired for the first time for Hotel Transylvania 4. I've actually been working with drag behind the scenes since the second movie. The second movie came out close to when I first moved out to California, and I'd really been trying hard to get some kind of role within the industry. Because to work with any of the big studios in California, you have to become a member of SAG. You have to be part of the union. And I can't just walk up to the SAG building and go, "Hi, I've just moved here from Texas, and I want to be a voice actor."
Listen, Tiger, this town has rules.
You kinda have to get approved to join SAG. There's 2 primary ways you can do that. One is that you start doing background work when you go onto shows and be a background actor. And if you do really well, the director or executive, whoever's there, can give you a little card. You get 3 of those cards. They say that you are welcome to join the union, and then you can do that. The other way is called being Taft-Hartley. That's whenever a union job will hire a non-union actor to do a job. You are allowed to do that one job, and then after that, you are welcome to join the union, which that's the route my agents were working with me on. And this was the role that actually got me Taft-Hartley into the union. You know, it's kind of poetic how my first role into the union was Dracula, and then I got to become the voice of him later on.
It's beautiful.
So like I said, this was during my first year of living in California. This is way before the YouTube channel was big enough to actually be able to sustain me financially on its own. So at this time, I had to make ends meet by also working part-time at the Disney store. And even then, sometimes both of those weren't enough. California's expensive.
Spare change, ma'am.
But one of the things about working at the Disney store is that we were not allowed to have our phones out on the floor while we were working. We had lockers in the back that we had to put our bags, phones, all that stuff into. So yeah, if somebody called, I wouldn't know. Hence part of this story. So one day I get an audition for Dracula, which I get excited for. Now the audition said nothing about being Dracula in the movie. The movie was already done. This was just part of the promotional ring, so I assumed at most it would be for a commercial or maybe even just scratch vocals for a commercial for Adam Sandler to do the voice for later. But anyways, I did the audition and sent it off, and I didn't hear anything back from it, which is really common in voiceover, so I didn't really think much of it. And I'd kind of forgotten I did the audition in the first place. Then fast forward 5 months, I'm at work at the Disney store, standing out on the floor, helping guests, doing stuff, and then I go on my 15-minute break. I head into the locker room, check my phone, and my heart sank as I looked at my phone, seeing 9 missed calls from my agent. I was like, oh my gosh. So I take my phone, run to the bathroom, just going like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. She was like, where have you been? I'm like, I'm at work. I'm not allowed to have my phone out on the floor, but I'm here. What's going on? So she said that I booked the role for Dracula, which was really exciting. She said it was going to be for a commercial promo bit during The Voice. But here's the kicker. The reason why she called me so many times was because they wanted me to come in like 2 hours. And I told her I can't do that. If I leave in the middle of my shift, I'm gonna get fired. And in my head, I'm sitting there thinking they had 5 months to decide on whether they wanted me or not, and then to get the role and they want me in like an hour? But luckily my agent talked with them and she got it worked out to where I could go in the next day and everything was fine. So I got to keep my job at the Disney store. And then I still to this day remember exactly what building it was that I went into for my first big voiceover gig in Hollywood. I walk in there, but there was only a sound engineer. Now this may have been my first gig in Hollywood, but I knew enough to know that when you go into a recording session, there's usually directors and animators and producers and stuff who are in there listening the whole time, and nobody else was there to give feedback. It was just him, which I thought was a little odd, so I'm like, okay. But I go in there, it's only like 3 lines, so I say the 3 lines, and then we're done. I'm in there for a grand total of, I think, 7 minutes, and then I look at him going, do you want them any other ways? Do you want to try things different ways? He's like, nope. According to the notes, this is exactly what they wanted. It sounded like Dracula. I think they're gonna be happy. So I walked away cool. I hope that works. And I was able to catch that episode of The Voice where the promo was there, although I haven't been able to find it since. And I'm not sure even to this day if I was the final voice that you heard in the promo, or if I was just a placeholder until Adam Sandler was able to come in and record his part. I'm pretty sure it was Sandler, if I remember correctly, but I'm not positive. But anyway, that was my big foray into voiceover for the very first time, and it has been a crazy road ever since. I'd only lived in LA for about 6 or 7 months at the time, and there is one phrase that I heard from many people that I learned was very true in that day. In Hollywood, they want you to hurry up and wait. You are either moving 100 miles an hour or you're not moving. There's like nothing in between. And the longer I've worked on this industry, yeah, that's pretty fair. I have never recorded for such a short amount of time before. I've never had such a quick turnaround before, but I'm sure there's a million reasons why they had to go that quickly. They could have just been a time crunch. It could have been like plans changed. In this industry, a million things can happen. But hey, I wouldn't trade this job for anything in the world.